Hello friends, welcome back to the vlog. Today we are at the Boot Lake Nature Preserve up here in the northern part of Elkhart County, and today we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a quick hike around the nature preserve, and I'm gonna show you some really cool things that exist here. Specifically though, we're gonna focus on the conservation efforts that really help shape this land and help maintain it. So for me, conservation and the parks in general just were not something that I paid really any attention to until I was about 25 and I had my first back surgery, and the only thing that helped to recover from the injury that I had suffered from was walking. And so the parks and this park in general became a really big part of my healing journey. And so taking care of it and ensuring that it lasts for a long time is something really important to me. And I hope by the end of this video, it'll be important to all of you as well. So let's go ahead and hit the trails and see what we got out here this morning. So here's the map of Boot Lake, and so right now we came in at the parking lot and we are here, and I'm going to take you through some quick woodlands before we get to the prairies. But you'll notice there's actually 3 distinct prairie sections of this park that we'll go out and we'll explore today. So right now we are actually at the end of the woodland trail, and it leads to the overlook of the wetlands here. And what's really cool about this part is that every year in the fall and the spring, you will find some sandhill cranes that take refuge here on the way as they are migrating from north to south and south to north. So if you listen closely, you can hear them, but you might not be able to see them all the way back here. So right now we are actually at the overlook of 2 prairies. There's one here and there's actually one all the way back here. So usually they do 1 prairie each year. So there's 3 in total. So they'll do each prairie once every 3 years. And they will burn it down to kill out all of the invasive species that are growing and just promote healthier soil and vegetation and things like that. So take a moment with me just to take this all in. When it's in summer, it's beautiful and it's in bloom, but even right now, just the stillness and the quiet of it all is pretty remarkable. So right now we are actually at my favorite part of the whole park, and that is the Purple Cone Flower Pass, which is a trail that just goes right between 2 prairies here. And you'll see that on one side of me is the prairie that's already been burned down and prepared for this upcoming season. And on this side of me, you'll see that it is still standing and it is still alive. We're going to continue to let this part of the prairie grow for 2 more years because they burned this side last year. But although there's not much to see right now during the summertime, this whole strip of land and the prairie on the left and the right are just full of coneflowers and sunflowers and wild blackberries, milkweed, just so many species that are so vital to maintaining the organisms and the mammals that live here. So the truth is, all of the beauty of Boot Lake only exists now because of the remarkable care that has been put into it by our Parks Department. And it hasn't always been like this. In the 60s, the city of Elkhart took control of the property and used the lagoons to dispose of waste, specifically sludge. And they continued this practice until 1991. In 1995, though, the prairie was restored, and in 2017, the County Parks Department took ownership of the land. Since taking over, the Parks Department has done so much to preserve and maintain the land. The park maintains a stark contrast from its earlier uses. As discussed previously, one of the ways the Parks Department has done this is through prescribed burns. This is the practice that has been used since before this land was even ever called America. In fact, the indigenous communities that once lived here knew the importance of using fire to ensure the land was healthy and the ecosystem was restored. So before the parks actually burn the land, they have to create an extensive plan. First, they need to consider if the environmental conditions are even right. They need to ensure that the wind speed is so slow that the fire doesn't get out of control. They need to make sure that the humidity is around 50% to continue to fuel the fire. And the temperature needs to be around 40 degrees to make sure that it's not too cold or too hot to burn everything that needs to get killed. After ensuring that the environmental conditions are right, the crews that are going to be taking care of the fire gather their equipment and get to work. The first thing that they create is what are called fire breaks. And so this is material that sort of lines the perimeter of the burn to prevent the spread of the fire beyond what is expected. They begin the fire and then they work tirelessly to manage it. It usually takes about all day, and during the day they're looking for spot fires, which are basically fires that start to erupt elsewhere outside of what is prescribed. And they do this until the burn is complete. Then the crew returns multiple times throughout the rest of the season to inspect the vegetation and make sure that everything has been completed perfectly. While the Parks Department takes on a big role in preserving this park, the truth is that they can't do it alone. As users of this land, there is a responsibility that we have as well. The easiest thing that we can do is follow the principle of leave no trace. This means that nothing is brought into the park and left behind that wasn't there before. This means that everything inside the park, like plants, rocks, and wildlife, are left inside the park. This means that we clean up after ourselves and stay mindful of staying on the trails. Boot Lake has outhouses in 2 different locations, garbage cans throughout the park, and complimentary doggy bags to help you clean up after your furry friends at 3 different posts. Make sure to grab them before you go. And if you want to learn more about how you can contribute and get involved in preserving this wonderful resource, visit the ElkhartCountyParks.org and see how you can help out. Volunteer your time, donate what you can, or become a friend and help plan the future of our parks. Thanks for joining me today. Bye!